Well, we got the harrows ready to go. More or less. Got to change the a tire on them. And I'm going to move the grain truck here because it's kind of in the way. I got to bring the drills in. Unhook the 2240 and bring the drills in. But yeah, we won't be getting grain for another week or two, so I can park this truck up on the hill. Now this truck is kind of a funny story here. Dad bought this truck brand new in 73, or the ranch bought it, or however, I mean, that's splitting hairs. It's all the same. Bought it brand new in 73 as a chassis truck. Now, didn't have a box on it, so they bought it for $5,000. Pretty high end back in the day. It's got a, as of right now, it's got a 345 and a 5-speed with a working fifth. Now, if any of you have driven trucks, you might have heard of this transmission. It's a really good transmission for going down the highway. High geared, so you can keep the motor down in the low RPMs when you're doing 65, 70. But the nice thing about it is that, we'll show you here. You go 1 low, 1 high, kick it down, 2 low, 2 high, then 3 low, 3 high. Then's where it gets funny. You go 4 low, and the transmission is actually split in such a way where you were after 4 low, you go directly to 5 low. And then, if you're still split shifting at that point, you go low gear, back to 4. And then, in 4 high, from there you go to 5 high. Now what this does, for anybody that's confused, is it makes it so that instead of having to do a split shift down to 4th, and then back up to 5th, every time you want to do a high-low, when you're hitting a hill, instead of going to 4 high like that, and then to 5 low, you just split a range. So you can take it from 5 high right down to 5 low, and instead of splitting a half a gear, you split a full gear, which is really nice because once you're on the highway, you generally very rarely have to actually shift down to 4th gear or 3rd gear unless you're pulling a really hard hill. Now, there obviously is times where I do have to shift into 4th, but that working 5th, like I showed you, makes a huge difference. But we have scaled this truck in at as much as 22,000 pounds. So you could put about 480 bushel in the back of this truck, which is fairly heavy load for a single axle. So you'll see the paintballs on the side there, paintball marks. Still haven't gotten it in to wash it off. This truck, about, must have been about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, the motor started getting really weak. And so we bought a bus. If any of you have seen my Big Blue Hippie bus story, that'll explain some of that. So we bought a bus, had a 304 in it, put the 304 in place of the 345, and the 304 promptly went up in smoke. Just wasn't enough motor for the loads we were pulling. So we had this 345 sitting around, then I went off to college. Well, I had an engine fundamentals and rebuild class, and had to bring a motor back with me after Christmas break. So Dad sends me with the 345 and another motor. And actually the other motor that I took with me was the 6.9 out of that 86. Now that one didn't get a complete rebuild. All we did was hone the cylinders, re-ringed it, and put new rod and main bearings in it. That's all we did to that one. But this motor was a completely different story. My dad said, make it run good. And so, between my college professor and a bunch of my buddies, we had a little bit of fun with it. We took this motor, it's been bored 030 over. It's got 10-to-1 Speed Pro flat tops in it, Teflon coated skirts. It's got a cam. I don't remember the exact specs, but the cam is about 4 stages over stock. We did a 3-angle valve job, and then I did a little bit of work on the Holley carburetor that it's got on it. Essentially, by the time you do the math, it's running, should be running, right around 300, 350 horse. Yeah, in typical Wick fashion, we built a hot rod motor for a grain truck. Cost $3,500, but you know, runs good. Runs really good, actually. Got some little carburetor issues yet. The accelerator pump isn't just right, but I've been thinking about putting a little bit different carburetor on it anyways. It's not quite enough carburetor for the motor that we got at this point. So we will, we're going to fire this bad boy up, and I haven't started it in about a month. Well, 3 weeks anyways. So we're going to fire this bad boy up and see what happens. Oh, and I guess I never explained the paintballs. When it sat in the back lineup, it used to sit after the motor went before I got this 345 in last year. Which, yeah, the motor, I won't go into that story just yet, but the motor sat in the shop, disassembled for a while. And finally I got around to putting it back together. Sometimes I just procrastinate with things like this, but anyways, so we just got it together last year, and it sat in the back lineup and served use as a paintball bunker. Pull the choke here and pump it a bit. Come on. There it goes. Well, almost. There we go. Oh yeah. We like it. Oh, it's cold-blooded. Okay, pull the choke again. There we go. Atta girl. Good oil pressure. So we can take it down the road, and we'll just flip some gears a little bit. We won't take it out on the highway yet today, but we will flip through some gears, and then we'll go take it and park it. Still being just a touch cold-blooded. There we go. Yeah, we like it. I knew there was a reason I put a 300 horse 345 in this beast, so I can actually get up and move instead of that dogging down stuff. We're just going to take it right up on the hill, park it next to the granary so it's out of the way. There we go. Cool. Now I messed up, for those of you that are going to catch me on it. The shifting pattern is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with reverse all the way over and down, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just first is right next to second, like that, and then it's just like shifting a regular truck. So just so you anybody that's run one of these working fifths that'll catch me there, my mistake. I make them just like everybody else.